All right, welcome to your next module. So what we're going to investigate in this module is asteroids, impact sites. And so although not common today, we know in the geologic past there has been a lot of impacts. It's actually how kind of the Earth was formed. And so, yeah, I mean, today we have smaller objects that might penetrate through our atmosphere and strike the Earth. But in the recent past, there really hasn't been anything fairly large. Probably the one that you've heard about more than anything else is the one that caused or helped cause the dinosaurs kind of become extinct. But because it impacts and affects the world that you live in now, and of course geology looks in big time, we're going to learn a little bit about those. And so what I'm going to do for the main lecture, instead of a PDF and a PowerPoint and what do we call those videos? I'm going to have you just kind of look at these different links. Some of them are just going to take you to a short little video. Others are going to be some information to read, some visuals. But basically just some terminology. What are we talking about when we say a meteor or an asteroid or a comet? What do those mean? And so some properties of those things you can read through in the first three links. A little bit about impact craters, or what they are, what they look like, what they tell us. And then a little bit about one of the largest impact craters that has been discovered on planet Earth. And then this little link here is just to a very short video. I don't know, it's a minute maybe, that just is visualizing all the known asteroids that we've been able to tag. It just gives you an idea of the number of objects we're talking about here. And then you can go ahead and take the lecture quiz over that content. And then the other two things are how to survive a killer asteroid article, which of course is describing what might happen if there was an impact, relating it to the impact that happened 65 million years ago, where dinosaurs were affected by that. So you can read through that and then take the article quiz. And for the homework, I'm going to have you watch there's two parts to the homework. One is a short video that's linked in the MCC library. I think it's like 8 minutes. It's going to talk about ways that we could potentially stop an impact from happening. So let's see, we identified one. The path is indicating it might strike Earth. What can we do about it? So it's going to talk about some methods to do that. And then for the second part, I'm going to ask you to do a little research to find some objects that have been identified. And so you can just look up potentially hazardous objects, PHOs. You just do a Google search about that, and it'll give you some information. I'm just asking you to tell me what they are, right? What's the name of them? How far away are they? When were they identified? When they think they're going to come by? And so you can read through that in the homework link. So that's what you're going to do for the main lecture. For the lab, we're actually going to do something on asteroids also. And there's a couple files that are to be opened in Google Earth. As always, there's a little tutorial at the front of the lab that explains what to do and how to work through the lab. But mostly there's some files or some visuals that you're going to go through, and you're going to answer some questions about what you see. And there's also at the end a little program that we can play with and input some data about different properties of an object that might strike the Earth and the results that come from that. And so I'm going to ask you to input some of that data and tell me, what the results were. That's kind of how the lab will work. And so that's what we're going to do for this module. Now, just a heads up, there is no final for this course. And so what I'm going to do is, this is our kind of, it's not really our last module, but it's going to be the one that's due on May 4th. And then exam week happens, right, that Monday through Thursday. So I'm going to have you work on a climate change module for those days. Now, it has to be due on Thursday the 8th, because that's when school ends and finals are done. It's just the module lecture part. There's no lab associated with it. And it'll be available on Monday when this asteroids one is also available. So you're just going to work through this one and do some of the lecture part on that. There'll be no final or anything, but that's kind of in place of having a final. I'm just going to have you work on a little bit of the climate change module. So I'll send out an email and an announcement to explain that. But if you have questions about that or what's going on this last week or so, let me know and I'll help you out.